And so welcome and thank you for your interest in our work tonight. And there's lots of wonderful faces and people that I love dearly and for a long time. And there's people that I haven't met yet, new faces. And so it's an honor to be here with you tonight. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity to work with our ancestors. And we're all interested in doing this healing work at this time. And that's why we're here. So we're here together. It's also a miracle that all of us from all these different paths of life have converged in this one spot right now. And so we honor the miracle. So I'd like to begin with a prayer. Men and women who are on the earth, you are our creators. We, the unconceived, beseech you. Let us have living bread, the builder of our new body. Let us have pure water, the vitalizer of our blood. Let us have clean air so that every breath caresses. Let us feel the petals of jasmine and roses, which are tender as our skin. Men and women who are the earth, who are our creators. We, the unconceived, beseech you. Do not give us a world of rage and fear, for our minds will be rage and fear. Do not give us violence and pollution, for our bodies will be disease and abomination. Let us be wherever we are, rather than bringing us into a tormented, self-destroying humanity. Men and women who are the earth, you are our creators. We, the unconceived, beseech you. If you are ready to love and be loved, invite us to this earth of the thousand wonders, and we will be born to love and be loved. And we will be born to love and be loved. That's by Laura Huxley. She's Italian, from Italy, and she was married to an Englishman, and so this is a prayer from the European continent, and we honor the ancestors of the European continent. And great mystery creator, creatrix, mother, father, God, all that is not. Kali, Yamachi, Parvati, Ganesha, Kuan Yin, Kuan Kum, Christ, Ava Maria, Nagakanya, power animals and allies, Muhammad, Buddha, Allah, Okami, Hanapu, Hanoye, Yum. I thank you for this opportunity that we have to be together and to belong to ourselves. I ask that the gifts of vision and clarity, purpose, purposefulness, the ability to show up in right relationship with a full, open, clear, and strong heart, the capacity to be in our deep strength, and the blessing way of our life dreams to come through us, and that we can cultivate our gifts. Creator, please bless our evening through your many faces in many ways, the one great mystery. We invoke you. We invoke your light into this work tonight. We give thanks to the spirits of land and place and to the first peoples of this land. And we give thanks to all of our ancestors. We honor you now, and we thank you. And we ask that you will show up here with us, present, to hear, to know, and to remember. We welcome you. Amen. And so we come from many traditions and from many pathways. And some of us are adopted, and some of us know who our bloodline is, our family line. And some of us are twice blessed. When we're adopted, we're considered twice blessed. Okay? In Africa, there's a tradition where they honor the elder in any ceremony or gathering, and so I would like to ask permission to continue our ceremony. I have been around the world and had the honor of traveling a lot, and I've noticed that when I am in Mexico, there is a Day of the Dead. And on the Day of the Dead, everyone goes to the graveyard and there is a big party. And I went with a friend of mine and we honored his mother, who had the same name as my mother, Matilda, which
was marvelous to see. And we cleaned off her tombstone and celebrated her and remembered all the delicacies that she loved and placed a lot of things on her site. And there was also people selling things, foods and things for their ancestors that they knew they would love. And so there's an honoring of them and a celebration. There's actually a movie out about that right now called The Book of Life that was put out pretty recently. Yeah, it's a really marvelous film. And it's about honoring the ancestors. In Japan, there are beautiful little altars. And also if you go to Hawaii and you see the Japanese graveyard, you'll notice, oh, there's all these little altars, and there's sake, and there's cigarettes, and there's, you know, whatever the person might love. There's a lot of sake and a lot of cigarettes, okay? Just noticing. And no matter where I've gone, there's always been this honoring in some form of the ancestors. In this place, we have a tendency to put images or photographs, usually in a hallway, on the wall. There will be photographs. And another way that we honor our ancestors is we have these little altars called photograph albums. And so we have these different ways that we can honor our ancestors. Now, what happens is that oftentimes our ancestors will come and they'll start talking to us. And our ancestors will usually visit us during the night, between midnight and 2 o'clock. And this is Angela's Arian's cross-cultural research. And she found that if somebody's waking you up between the hours of 12 and 2, not looking at anyone in particular. Thanks for letting me have fun with that. Someone is talking with you. Now, if I'm an ancestor, if I've crossed over and I see one of my descendants struggling, and I know that I can come at 1:30 in the morning and just say, hey, I've got a better idea. You know, I made this mistake, so I can help you to not make this mistake anymore. And, you know, imagine going through so much effort to embody or to whisper or simply even to get the attention of the heart and to not have that person listen. Okay? I know that that would break my heart were I an ancestor with an important message. And our ancestors are relying on us. They are standing behind us, and there are 2 rows of them. And you can read about this, Angela Arian's book, The Fourfold Way and the Warrior. You can read more about how the ancestors are standing behind you. And so I honor my teacher and I thank you, my mentor. And we have the female ancestors behind us, and they're all standing behind us on the left side. All of them are standing behind us on the left side. And then all of the male ancestors are standing behind us on the right side. And then our transgender relatives would probably be in the center, but that's my guess, okay? Because that is the integrative nature. That is the integrative nature. The transgender is the integrative, the universal, okay? And so we have the masculine and we have the feminine, and they are saying, hello, have you noticed that there are some issues, and would you like some help try to do something about what's happening with the world at this time? And so we have this opportunity to hear them and to listen to them and to be in contact with them. Now, there are many pathways. There are many different ancestors that stand behind us, and some of us are more than one people, okay? And so I found in my travels and also in my work, in my own research and in my work, that every culture on every continent has ancestor work. And they all honor their ancestors in some way or form. So we have common ground. Now, we're not remembering to do it. We're not remembering how to listen. We're not remembering how to bring honor and respect to ourselves, let alone anyone else. Okay? And so what we can do is we can call on them to help our asses. And it's marvelous because we can, in the morning, we can just simply say thank you. You know, and we can say their names aloud. So my grandma Goodrich, she died about 3 years ago. And so I always thank her. Every morning I say, thank you, Grandma Goodrich. Thank you, Grandma Goodrich. And even though Goodrich isn't a blood name for me, the Goodrich family is my spiritual line, or my second line, because my grandmother married my grandfather. So there's another ancestral line. Now, if I'm adopted, which I've been adopted, so I have my blood family, and then I also have my adopted family. So if we're adopted, then we're considered twice blessed, because then we have, imagine the ancestors, masculine and feminine, 2 lines on each side looking out for you, and a lot of evening conversations. Can I get some sleep now, please? You know, but usually what is so is that it is very, very simple, and it's much simpler than we're making it. But what the Hopis say, the Hopi people, is that what we need to do, what we know is we know that the world is speeding up. And this is what was expected. So they speak in great detail about how the world is speeding up. And I want to read to you some Hopi prophecies. These are from a talk, the minutes from a talk given by Lee Brown, who is a Hopi elder, in the 1986 Continental Indigenous Council in Fairbanks, Alaska. There was a cycle of the mineral, the rock. There was a cycle of the plant. And now we are in the cycle of the animal, coming to the end of that and beginning the cycle of the human being. When we get into the cycle of the human being, the highest and greatest powers that we have will be released to us. They will be released from the light or soul that we carry in the mind. But right now, we're coming to the end of the animal cycle, and we have investigated ourselves and learned what it is like to be an animal on earth. We've investigated ourselves and learned what it is like to be an animal on earth. At the beginning of this cycle of time, a long time ago, the Great Spirit came down, and the Great Spirit said, I am going to change each of you into different colors. And so I'm going to take you and I'm going to change you into all red. And then I'm going to take you and I'm going to change you into all white. And I'm going to take you and I'm going to change you into all yellow. And then I'll take you and I'll turn you into all black. Right? And he gave each of them a responsibility that they call the guardianship. To the native people, the red people, he gave the guardianship of the earth. We were to learn during this cycle of time the teachings of the earth, the plants that grow from the earth, the plants that grow from the earth, the plants that grow from the earth, the foods that you eat, and the herbs that are healing, so that we can come back together with our other brothers and sisters and we can share this knowledge with them. Something good was to happen on earth. To the south, he gave the yellow race of people the guardianship of the wind. They were to learn about the sky and breathing and how to take that within ourselves for spiritual advancement. They were to share that with us at this time. To the west, he gave the black race of people the guardianship of the water. They were to learn the teachings of the water, which is the chief of the elements, being the most humble and the most powerful. Lee is saying now, when I went to the University of Washington and learned that it was a black man that discovered blood plasma, it didn't surprise me because blood is water. And the elders already told me that black people would bring the teachings of the water. To the north, he gave the white race of people the guardianship of the fire. If you look at the center of many things they do, you will find the fire. They say a light bulb is the white man's fire. If you look to the center of a car, guess what? You find a spark. It doesn't say guess what. If you look at the center of the airplane and the train, you will find the fire. The fire consumes. It also moves. This is why it was the white brothers and sisters who began to move upon the face of the earth and reunite us as a human family. Okay? So we all have our ancestors, and we all have our instructions, and we all have our guardianship. And it's important to remember that we want to make contact with these ancestors because they have the knowledge and the wisdom to pass down to us. So what does it require? He also says in this same talk that it requires that as the world is speeding up, because in the prophecies they say the world will speed up, and the grandfathers and the grandmothers won't have time for the grandchildren, and the aunties won't have time for the nieces and nephews, the friends won't have time for the friends. And it never was that way before, not in any culture. Every culture, family was important. We paid attention to our friends. We cultivated our relationships. We had time at home. Did you know that we used to eat dinner at a table together? Whoa, that's a trip. I mean, really, that's so interesting. But what he says is, he says that I still do that. I still do that ancient tradition. But what he says is that as the world speeds up, we must slow down. As the world speeds up, the only way that we will thrive and survive in this coming time and present forward is if we slow down. Now let me tell you something, it's not easy. I'm not talking about going 45 on the freeway. But I am speaking to the ability to slow down our thinking, to slow down our actions, to think before we say something. One of my favorite things is to just tell myself, Char, stop. It's not your turn. But we all think it's our turn all the time, right? It's my turn. Oh, it's my turn again. It's my turn again. And it's just like, God, will somebody just shut the fuck up? We have a hard time shutting ourselves the fuck up, right? So it's just a matter of saying, just for a minute, listen. Just listen for a minute. One of the things that I have noticed is that if we're not being heard, we're not listening. If we don't feel heard, we're not listening. If we feel like somebody's not understanding us, we're not understanding. Okay? And so the more that we listen, we can really step into that other person's world. And if we can step into that other person's world, then we can understand where they're coming from. Okay? They say that the things we most dislike in others are always a mirror. Okay, we have that somewhere in ourselves, or we wouldn't notice it. We wouldn't notice the things that aren't in us. Okay, so the things we love and like, same things. It's in us, or else we wouldn't notice it. He goes on to say, in the League of Nations circle, there was a southern door, the yellow people. There was a western door, the black people. They were they sent a letter to the League of Nations, the Hopi people, asking for audience. With the other races, and there was no response, and so they didn't go because they weren't invited. And so in the League of Nations circle, there was a southern door, the yellow people. There was a western door, the black people. There was a northern door, the white people. But the eastern door was not attended. The elders knew that peace would not come on earth until the circle of humanity is complete, until all four colors sat in a circle and shared their teachings. Then peace would come to earth. Then peace will come to earth. So we've all learned about the earth, the water, the fire, and the air. And what is required in order for us to have peace on earth is to come together and share what it is that we've learned. Now there are some of us who have more than one culture or tradition or bloodline within us. And then we have the opportunity, we get to be a bridge inside of us, because guess what? People fall in love, right? So it's this marvelous thing. Black people fall in love with Native American people, and Native American people fall in love with Japanese people, and Japanese people fall in love with white people, and then they make babies. It's fucking amazing. It's so awesome. And so people fall in love, and then they make these babies. And so that's really our work, right? Is we need to fall in love. And we need to fall in love. We need to remember what it is that we love. And when we're struggling with that, when we're having a difficult time with that, what we need to do is we need to say, help, ancestors. Ancestors, I've forgotten my name. I've forgotten who I am. I've forgotten the name of my race and the name of my birthplace. I've forgotten something very, very important. Very, very important. Oh, who am I quoting there? Is that Octavio Paz? Octavio Paz, I believe. Might be Machado. So I'll have to get clear about that. Thank you for that. Thank you. I want you to be my ancestor. You're the most amazing poet ever. Right? Memorize the name in addition to the poem. Check. Right? But we have to remember our name. And we have to remember the name of our race. And we have to remember the name of our birthplace. And we need to come to a place where we're filling ourselves with what nourishes us and nurtures us and proves to us that we are worth loving. Proves to us that through this kindness that I extend to myself, I express more kindness. I receive more kindness. But it's very, very simple. And he goes on to say, for each of us carry, I believe, a sacred drop of light. In the Indian teachings, they say it takes 9 ancestors to agree before conception can occur. Each of us carry, I believe, a sacred drop of light. In the Indian teachings, they say it takes 9 ancestors to agree before conception can occur. 9 ancestors of the husband, 9 ancestors of the wife have come together in the spiritual realm and say, we will bring life before a woman can become pregnant. At that time, the soul is born. So your very existence, what he is saying, and so you can find this, it's under the Hopi Prophecies, if you'd like to read the entire talk. This was a talk given by Lee Brown to the 1986 Continental Indigenous Council in Fairbanks, Alaska. And it's so moving. This entire talk is so moving and so profound. And it's really asking us to wake up and to have that drop of light, to have that little drop of light, to expand that drop of light, our soul. It's asking us to bring that to the world so that the world can experience some positive changes. And we can do that. And we have the option. Every day we're given a couple of different options. So how do I want to work with this? How do I want to work with my ancestors? Number 1, you can say, ancestors, I feel really pathetic right now. I'm not doing so hot with this relationship. I really, but you know what? I think there were some ancestors who were married for a really long time or together for a really long time, and they seemed like they were pretty happy together. Could you come and give me some advice? Okay. Do you see how simple it is? And so how do we communicate with our ancestors? By communicating. That's what we need to communicate with them. And so there's a reciprocity. And sometimes they've just been working so hard to get our attention and knocking and knocking and knocking on the door. Knocking and knocking and knocking and waking us up every single night for weeks at a time. And we're like, I don't know what's going on. But we're receiving messages, right? And it might be just one word, right? And sometimes it's a sentence. But the ancestors aren't going to come and be like chatty Kathy at the side of your bedside all night. They're going to say 1 or 2 things, and then they will be satisfied. So I keep a little tablet next to my bed, and I write down, thank you for, and then I write down anything that I might receive during the nighttime, and in the morning I'll write down my dreams. If I've had any important dreams, we're only responsible for the dreams we remember. So don't worry about it too much. So oftentimes our ancestors were characters, right? And so does anyone have any characters in their family line that are, yeah, we all do. Now what's interesting is that no matter what the age of the person, when they crossed over, they still become our ancestor. If we have a child in our lives that's crossed over, that child will become our ancestor. If we have an aunt or an uncle, they will come and be our ancestor. If we have a friend that we lost very young or too young, where we felt it was too soon for them to go to the mystery and to have the blessing of being reunited with the mystery, that friend will become an ancestor. And we have so much wisdom available to us. Now, there's ancestors that we know, and there's ancestors that we don't know, okay? And I've had all different ancestors come to me and say, hello, hello, hi, how are you doing? I'm like, really? Whoa. Awesome, thank you, all right? What we also know is that the ancestors will speak to us through symbols. They will speak to us through nature. They will try to get our attention in a number of different ways. Sometimes they will speak to us through a person, you know, almost as though, wow, my grandmother used to say exactly that. How many of us have had someone say that to us? You know, it's like, oh, your mother used to, right? So many of us have had people say that to us. And it's like, and we've never said that phrase before, right? Like, well, I'll be a blue-nosed gopher. Oh, my grandma used to say that, you know? And so it's ways of visitation. Another ways that ancestors will visit is through animals. And I recently took a trip to Florida. It was so amazing. Oh my God, the birds. Ah! Excuse me. And I took a trip along the bird trail. But it was really interesting. I'm in a grocery store. I've seen a cardinal, and everyone has to know that I've seen a cardinal because my dream was to see a cardinal. And I saw a cardinal last month. It was amazing. And they're gorgeous. And I was with a group of people that I didn't know at all. And I'm listening to them, and they're saying, oh, yes, my grandmother always comes as a cardinal. You know, and then the other woman in the grocery store is like, well, yes, cardinals are known for that. They're known for carrying, you know, they carry the spirits of those who've gone before. And that's how they visit. And I'm just like, what? This is so awesome. So even in our unconscious, we know it, and it's getting passed down. There's also Louisiana. I spent some time in Louisiana, and just marvelous, marvelous things there. And deep, deep, deep ancestral knowledge in the land. Deep ancestral knowledge. And so we have access to all of these different ways of communicating with our ancestors. But will I shut up? No! Right? No, I will not. I will turn on the news, I will turn on the radio, I will call my friend, I do that, you know, da-da-da-da-da-da. And so it's what, you know, we really need to do is go, as Angela Sarian used to say, medium to slow. Now let me tell you something, you guys. I have known this teaching for over a decade. And every day I have to remind myself, Sundust, take a chill pill, just slow down. Okay? And what I notice when I slow down is that everything gets done. When I'm not going slow, medium to slow, things don't get done. Okay? And so it's just we have to check ourselves and have a relationship with ourselves and with our ancestors. And so what we know is we know that a lot of our ancestors were characters, and character qualities, these are the character qualities. This is from another mentor of mine, Patrick O'Neill. And we go really into depth into character qualities in the mentorship leadership course, but I have just a list of them here for you. And the character traits are integrity, commitment, honesty, courage, perseverance, trustworthiness, and self-respect. There's also the benchmarks, which are optimism and faith, accountability, flexibility, integrity, dependability, kindness, determination, loyalty, discipline, equity, patience, steadfastness, and tolerance. So I want my mom and my brother and everyone around me and my boss to all be extremely tolerant, steadfast, kind, and courageous. But am I? Probably not. Okay? And so it's interesting, isn't it? You know, we really have, here's your list of things to do today, but you do them, okay? This is our work. This is our work. And so we have these ancestors, and our ancestors were characters. Okay, they had steadfastness, because let me tell you something, none of us would be sitting here if our ancestors were not able to persevere. The odds are we should have never landed here. Okay, I mean, they were facing unbelievable odds to just survive. So that our very existence is really, really something. Really something that we even exist. And so we give gratitude. Another way that we communicate with the ancestors is to give gratitude. I thank them for my life every day. Another day to be here in this world of 1,000 wonders. This world of 1,000 wonders, as Lord Huxley calls it. And so we have all of these marvelous character traits. So how can I develop those? How can I develop those? Well, one of the ways that I can do that is to ask my ancestors for help, because they're in our blood. Now, everybody relax, chillax, because you know what? There is such a thing as fierce clarity, and there are some ancestors who probably didn't do things the way we liked and weren't doing things the way we would have liked to have them done through our instruction and the way that we think everything should be in the world. And guess what? People don't do things the way that we want them to do them. You know, and we don't do things the way that other people want us to do them. And you know what? That's how life is, and that's okay. But we can receive instructions from life. We can receive instructions from the earth, and we can receive instructions from our ancestors. Okay? And so there are good and true and beautiful ancestors. And our good and true and beautiful ancestors will speak to us if we will shut up. I mean, that's probably not the nicest way to say that, but I'm not very PC. So there it is. So what we have is we have opportunities every day for ourselves. To know ourselves, to come into contact with nature. Okay? If we do not have a long list of to-dos that don't belong to us, we're going to allow ourselves 5 minutes, maybe, to sit and listen and to do deep listening. So our ancestors have our backs, and they love us deeply. And what's interesting is that we feel better after we talk to them. Whoa. Why would I want to do that every day? That's kind of interesting. I have the option to feel better. And so what we do is we let go of our need to feel guilty, or to have survivor's guilt if there's a and that's not to say that we don't get into our little victimology tailspin once in a while about what a victim we are, and oh my God, hear the violin in the background. Well, I probably have a vehicle, and if I don't have that, then I probably have legs, and if I don't have that, then I probably have some kind of way to get around, especially if I'm here right now. So there's a lot to say thank you for. And there's not a heck of a lot that we're a victim to. All right? So we have these bodies, and our bodies are the vehicles. They're the vehicles for our dream. They're the vehicles for our unique gifts and our unique talents in the world. And all of us have one, or we wouldn't have a body. Everybody has one, or they would not be here. Okay? So you have your external ancestors, and then you have your internal ancestors. And those internal ancestors are in your blood, and they are encouraging you. And what you have to do, or not, is to take action on the insight. So they're giving you this information, they're sharing this wisdom with you. And you know, the first step is to receive that knowledge, to create a relationship and to honor them. Okay? In many cultures around the world, they have an altar for their ancestors. And we can create an altar for our ancestors and honor them. We can write them little love notes and put little love notes on an altar for them and thank them. We can have 5 minutes with them alone a day. I mean, 5 minutes alone? Oh. I mean, I just spent a lot of time, a month alone, and I loved every second of it. It's like, yes! But you must have something that's called limits and boundaries. It's spelled L-I-M. Limits and boundaries. Limits and boundaries. So that means that I have the capacity to act like I give a shit about myself. Okay, I'm going to take care of my sacred time. I'm going to make sure that I am revitalized and regenerated so that I can go into the world with some juice. Okay, I'm not helping anyone if I go drag an ass into my job or drag an ass home to my safe harbor with no love. I'm going to walk into the door of my house with no love because I'm so depleted and I've given away all of my power and I have worked, I don't know how many hours of overtime this last week, and I have, and I have, and I have. And there must be a time where you let the universe, the world, the mystery that created you give back to you. To love you back. Because we're put here to love the world, and we're put here to experience love and to learn about love and to create. But if I don't have that energy to do that very, very basic loving and creating, well, how come that is? No one else is responsible for that. If I'm in that place, I need to really look at my priorities and maybe a little bit of a disease to please. I know no one else here has that issue. Never happened, right? A little bit of that disease to please, okay? And so we have to stop because you know what? They're never going to be happy no matter how much you give, okay? You might add to their happiness with your own happiness, but your misery isn't going to help anybody else. So you might as well just, right? Thank you. Got a little punctuation there. And so really, you know, Agnes Martin said that, you know, the purpose of the artist is to serve happiness. Okay, she's amazing, Agnes Martin. She says that the purpose of the artist is to serve happiness. And I feel the same way about spirituality, that it really is to serve happiness. And that is where we need to go. You know, life is not meant to be drudgery. I'm going to drag my pathetic ass through my day and, you know, just hope I can get home and, you know, catch a, you know, Big Mac on the way and or whatever, you know, catch can, right? You know, but if I tend to myself, if I have a kindness toward myself, if I care for myself, I'm going to have an infinite supply to draw from. Okay? And then I can stop making other people responsible for my happiness and then get mad at them because of what they didn't do that they didn't know to do. Right? So what we want is we want to start each day with an intention for our lives. You know? And guess what? All we can live is just right now. So you don't need to worry about back then, and you don't need to concern yourself about over there, because this is it. This is what you get. And we don't know if over there is ever going to happen. And I love, I wish I knew who I was quoting, but there's a quote where it's like, all the things that I worried about that never happened. There's billions of them. Billions of them, all the things that I put energy into and put focus on that never happened. So what do I want to put my focus on? That's what the ancestors can help us with every single day. You know, just a little listen, just even going down to your heart and asking your own blood. Just ask your own blood running through your heart, your beautiful four-chambered heart. How can I live fully today? How can I offer my gifts? How can I source my life from happiness? Okay? You can just simply ask every single day. And then what happens then what happens is that your focus shifts. And your focus shifts to actually who you are. Because what I found is that the things that we like show us who we are, and the things that we don't like show us who we're not. Right? But what is important is that we're willing to risk. You know, Helen Keller said, life is a great risk or it is nothing. It's a great risk. She also said, do one thing no, that was Eleanor Roosevelt said. Thank you very much. She's like, I gotcha. Eleanor Roosevelt said, do one thing every day that scares you. Do one thing every day that scares you. Okay? And so it's interesting that the difference between fear and excitement is 0. It is 0. And so sometimes when you're feeling like, you know, I'm about to experiment with something new or to do something new, call on those who've done it. You know, call on your great-grandfather. Call on your great-grandmother. Call on a spiritual ancestor who is a teacher or a mentor. Our teachers and mentors continue to help us even after they've crossed. They continue to talk with us. Another way that the ancestors will make contact is that they'll come into our dream time. And those dreams are called visitation dreams. And so they will come and they can visit with us. Isn't that beautiful at night when we're sleeping? And sometimes they'll kind of show us how it is, you know, in the land of the dead and how things are going. And sometimes it's fun for them, and sometimes, well, they're in school, and school isn't always fun. You know? And sometimes they want to do reparation. If an ancestor is scaring us, it means they want our attention. It just means they want our attention. So we can just say, oh, hi. Right? You know, if they're like, I had one student say there was some phenomenology involved, but they were shaking their bed. And it was like, well, wow, that ancestor really wants your attention. I mean, come on, you know, have you had a conversation? And so it's about the courage to have that conversation, the willingness and the ability to listen deeply and to trust what it is that we're receiving. And so what we do is we step into each day having gathered and having collected that wisdom in a good way, in a sacred manner. And in a good way means that we're using what we've been given by the ancestors for the good. And I love what David Richo says. David Richo says, we must channel every experience we've ever had into creating more love in the universe. We must channel every experience we've ever had into creating more love in the universe. And we must let go of our addictions to suffering and pain and complaining about such a beautiful world and such a blessed life. We are so blessed. Now that doesn't mean we don't have the conversations about things that bother us, but God, is there anything that doesn't bother me? You know? I mean, what doesn't bother me? That might be a better question. You know? And so what is it that I enjoy? Because that is going to show me what it is that I like. And then you can call on the ancestors just one day. Even today I can say, ancestors, what is it that will help me to fulfill my life dream today? What is it that will help me to become who I really am today? What will make me happy today? Because if we're in a good mood, guess what? It's an atmosphere. We create an atmosphere. And we are responsible for the atmosphere that we're creating. Okay? So what is the atmosphere that I'm creating each day? And we come to each day with an intention for our day. Every single day. What is my sacred intention? Okay? So my sacred intention today is to serve happiness by assisting people in igniting their relationship with their own soul through connecting with their ancestors. Okay? And coming into their wholeness. Helping individuals and assisting, not really helping, I don't help anyone at all. If I feel like I want to help, I take a bunch of steps back. That's not good. No helping. But we can assist, we can encourage, right? We can set that example, but just through how we're living our own lives. So I can go to the ancestors in the morning and I can say, help me out here. Okay, and help me to use what you've given me for the good, and we have that option, we have that choice to do that every single day. Now then, we can set a sacred intention, and I call it a sacred intention, or we can simply set an intention, okay? Now, right now, we have some race issues that are absolutely unconscionable and horrifying, absolutely horrifying, and there are things that we can do and courageous conversations that we can have in order to change things for the greater good for all. And what we do is we go to, well, what road was I born on? Oh, maybe I was born on the Silk Road, the Yellow Road. That's what it's called in China. It's called the Silk Road, the road of the wind, the road of the air. Okay, so how can I bring my spirituality, the breath of life? How can I bring my gifts and my talents? How can I bring all of the power of my people to this moment? And relax into it. And relax into that, knowing that that has my back. That is holding me. I can be in my power. I'm being held. Okay. Another gift that is important is that we can ask that the voice of our ancestors be with us. We ask that the voice of our ancestors be with us. We can apologize to one another for the horrors in our history. We can have the courage to say something where no one else will. Okay? It's a matter of courage. It's a matter of intention. Okay? Now, the key is to not have any underlying agenda about how it's going to go. Right? Okay? What's important is who I am and how I am behaving. So, that leaves us with, what kind of ancestor do I want to be? What kind of ancestor do I want to be? What do I want to be remembered for? What do I want people to think of when they think of me after I'm gone? Who do I want to be every day? Can I help the children? Can I serve the children? Can I serve the poor? Can I serve the elders? Okay. Patrick O'Neill talks about how those are the ways that countries are judged. The treatment of their elders, their children, and their poor. We are not doing very well, ladies and gentlemen. But what is in me that wants to be ignited? They're there. Your ancestors are there saying, we'll help you. So what can you do? You can wake up and say, yo, you know, I feel like there's no hope in this organization for any change. And I feel like I'm about to lose my mind. Or my shit, something. I know it will not do this organization any good, or me any good, to lose my shit. That will not do anyone any good. So, if you could please do me a favor and deliver to me some patience. So if there's an ancestor of mine who had some patience back there, I could really use some. So could you just tell me how you did that and be really clear? Be absolutely clear. You're going to receive something that could save your life. Really. really, you will receive something that could save your life and save the lives of others. And definitely save your sanity, or at least preserve it, you know, or get it back if it's been lost somewhere, you get it back, right? But you can ask them for help every single day, or you can say, I really would like to ask a special favor, and I'm really grateful to you if you could just help me out with the situation. I need your help about how to talk with my partner right now. I don't know what to say. I clearly I have some triggers because I feel like I'm being stubborn and willful, and then I'm also feeling really prideful about this, and I know I'm right. And I don't seem to be able to get very far that way, and I don't know why. But could you help me out here? Now, then what you've got to do is you've got to cease and desist for a moment and allow them to show you, to speak to you, either through your own heart. Now, it's not like you have to hear, oh, I heard my grandmother's voice, blah, blah, blah. You don't need any phenomenology. This is normal. Every tradition has traditions where they speak to spirit. There's no culture of the world that does not have spirit in their language. Okay? And so what you do is you can speak to another spirit, or you can speak to your own. You can speak to your own. You can go in your own heart, ask for a message, receive the message. Then what you can do is you just take it with you wherever you go. Or you can literally place yourself, you can see your intention as this big, Carl Jung talked about this, how you can put the egg around you, right? I'm sure some of you do that, or some of you have heard of that. It's a protective egg, right? And you can put yourself inside of an egg, and you can just simply have that intention completely surround you. So if the intention that they give you is, you know, do try to be nice. You know, just try to let everybody keep their dignity here, okay? Including you. And you can just say, okay, dignity, you know, and kindness. I could do that. I could do dignity. And then what you do is you just simply surround yourself in dignity and kindness, just like the Jungian egg. And then it's like wherever you go, that you are in the center of dignity and kindness, okay? One of the things that I do, I don't think I've told anyone this before, but what I'll do is I'll write my sacred intention on my arm in the morning, and then if I'm going along my day, I'll just be like, but what's marvelous is usually that goes pretty well. But also what we know is we know that those words will transform us. And if we can do this every single day, we will start to transform. If we can allow our ancestors to help us, if we can begin a spiritual practice where we're in contact with something where we don't think that we're the all-knowing, all-seeing, all, you know, where we don't think we're the higher power, okay? And a lot of us think we are. We really think we know what's best for other people, and we think that we know what everyone should do, how they should do it, when they should do it, what time they should be there, and how they should dress. Okay? We don't know any of that shit. We have no clue how someone should be, when they should be there, how they should dress, or what time they should arrive. That is none of our effing business. Okay? That is totally all their business. Right? Our work is to walk our own lives, to listen to what we should wear, what time we should arrive, right? We can divert ourselves for months in looking at what someone else should or should not be doing, okay? But all we really know is what we need to be doing, and that's one of the reasons why we need to have access to our ancestors, to our support, to the support of our blood, to the very support of our blood, or to the support of our heart, okay? So we want access to that so that we can bring forward who we really are and be our real selves in the world. But to tend to our own life and to have a life well lived, okay? Because if I'm busy living someone else's life, who's living mine? Well, guess what? You come back to your life and it's utter chaos. because I'm so busy, you know, thinking about my boyfriend or my girlfriend or my whatever, you know, my dog. The dog's fine. The dog's eaten 3 times today. Do not be codependent with the dog. The dog is fine. Really. You know, they'll tell you if something's not right, and you know, and we love our pets a lot, but you know, we need to love ourselves in equal proportion to how we love our animals. Please, people. Did I eat 3 times a day? No. Did my dog eat 3? Yes. You know, it's like, so you might want to, you know, up the ante a little bit. So your ancestors are going to say, eat 3 meat, eat at the same time the dog eats. You eat at the same time the dog eats, we know that you will live another month. And so take a chance on this and let yourself transform. It's up to you. You know, it's, you know, you'll find what works for you and how it is that you want to communicate, and if it's through noticing them in nature, or if it is through silent time alone with them every day. But they love you so very, very much, and they really want to help you. And so this is about a relationship of reciprocity. This is about a relationship of reciprocity. So have a relationship with your ancestors, and they will teach you how to have a relationship with yourself, and they will teach you how to be fucking happy, which is, I think, a marvelous thing, you know? But it's a change, and we need to be willing to make those changes, because a lot of change is needed in the world right now. We're not going to make it unless we change. But we can do it. You know, it's something that we can do, and this is a great way to start. You know, they don't want us to make the changes while being miserable. They want us to make the change. You know, you can only make the changes if you are really sad about it. No. Right? You can really make the changes if they happen inside. If I make the changes in me, if I change the behaviors that I find less than becoming, if I break the negative ancestral patterns by being aware of them and making a different choice instead of doing the old reaction. Am I reacting? I need to stop. I need to get another script. Okay, so what? And you get to write that for yourself. You get to write that for yourself, but the spirits will help you with that also. Okay, but you can just write yourself. Usually, I would say something like this, or I would do that, or I'd cross my arms and turn around. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my arms at my side, and I'm going to say, I can see your point. Whoa. That's going to change the whole scenario. Everything will be different if I can just shape-shift that. If I can just change myself, the whole environment will change. And so we can do this. This is a doable thing. And as every spiritual tradition in the world says, if we develop spiritually, we're going to be okay. If we develop spiritually, we're going to be okay. And whatever that means to you, because you have your own lineage, and it's beautiful, it is sacred, it is real, rely on it. In the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of the summer, we remember them. In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys and special celebrations we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are a part of us, and we remember them. And this is by Rabbi Sylvan Commons. Rabbi Sylvan Commons. This is a Jewish prayer for the ancestors. I thank you so much for this opportunity to be with you tonight, and I hope that whatever you need, that you received it tonight, and whatever you didn't like, just please don't pay any attention to it, and whatever you did like, please take it with you and use it in your life in a daily way. Great and beautiful mystery creator, I thank you so much for this evening and for all that you've given us, and I especially thank our ancestors who are relying on us to bring forward the good and true and beautiful of them. We give thanks to you for the ability to bring forward their character and to develop our own. And Creator, bless each person here with the capacity, the strength, the vision, the clarity, the depth, and the joy to do what it is that they've come here to do, to love, to create, to connect. I hope. Amen. Amen.